So is the antibodies cocktail used on Donald Trump, now available in India, a game changer? As big a game changer as it's being talked about? Let's understand this in detail. First, what is the antibodies cocktail or monoclonal antibodies as they are called? Well, these are laboratory produced antibodies designed to recognize and bind to the specific sites on the given protein. This could be the spike protein, say for SARS-CoV-2 that we're talking about right now, or receptor protein found in the surface of the cell. Now, unlike the natural antibodies that are polyclonal, this is actually a mixture of antibodies that recognize different sites on these proteins, and then the monoclonal antibodies are more specific, and that's the key here, and often bind with higher affinity. This allows them to better recognize and fight the foreign invaders such as bacteria and viruses, so it can be used for several other things as well, not just COVID-19. Effectively, these are antibodies that are created in a lab and tailor-made to fight this virus. So how does it work? Now these, like I said, they bind with the spike protein to prevent the virus from attaching to the human cells and then target for their destruction as well. The COVID-19 diagram that you see with several spikes on its surface, well, that actually helps the virus attach and enter the human cells. Several monoclonal antibodies have been developed to bind with those spikes of COVID-19 and block the virus from invading the human cell. Patients with COVID-19 may receive them with an IV infusion. Usually it can be given in an emergency department. There are infusion centers as well. So that means you don't really need to be in a hospital. You can get this even outside the premises of the hospital. But the key question here, who needs it? Well, of course, people who have COVID-19 need it, but only these are effective if given in the first 7 days of the infection itself, to basically nip the infection in the bud. So this treatment does not prevent you from the disease or the infection, but will prevent you from severeness of the disease and thus prevent you from death as well. That way, it's similar to say what a plasma therapy was like, except that while plasma is a mixture of many low and high affinity antibodies, this is a highly categorized product of high affinity and effectiveness. So the question is, can anybody really take these antibodies cocktail? Well, early data suggests that greater benefit is only for high-risk patients or those with comorbidities or those with suppressed or weak immune system, meaning those people who are older than 65 years of age or have medical conditions like have had transplants in the past, or are cancer patients with weak lungs, or those who are clinically obese as well. Also, it's for positive cases who are not sick enough to be in the hospital, but who have some risk factors for severe infection. Remember, the first patient who actually got this treatment was an 82-year man with multiple comorbidities. But there are also those who are advised against this treatment. The FDA, for example, says they do not authorize this for patients who require oxygen therapy due to COVID-19 or those who are already dependent on oxygen or artificial oxygen supply due to an underlying non-COVID related comorbidity, and thus require COVID-19 in the situation of COVID-19 an oxygen flow rate that is either higher from the baseline. Efficacy, how effective is this? What is the effectiveness of this treatment altogether? Well, that really depends on what cocktail you get. Like different vaccines have different efficacies, well, this also, in this case, different combinations and different cocktails will have different effectiveness. What we have as data is that a combination of casirivimab and MDevimab has 70% effectiveness. The combination of bamlanivimab and atezolizumab has 70% effectiveness, and then really the king over here is the sotrovimab, which has 85% efficacy, as is being talked about. And then the question is all about availability. That's the reason why in India people are getting so excited about this therapy. Cipla and Roche have now launched these antibody cocktails in India. The first successful treatment was actually done in Medanta Hospital in Gurugram, and now Fortis Hospital has started the treatments as well. And then the million-dollar question of the cost. Well, the cost also differs from cocktail to cocktail, but it mostly will range between 60,000 to 1 lakh rupees depending on how many doses you actually go on and get. All right, so that is all you really needed to know about what exactly is this antibody cocktail all about.